go live there, and then let's start the webinar.
You want to start out, Jenny?
What was that? Let's see.
Would you like to start the report, Jenny?
Yeah, I'll start it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We still have a few more minutes, so.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah, we got like 3 minutes. I'll give you the heads up.
Yeah.
I wanted to start the webinar, get people into the room, promoting as panelists.
In the meantime, I look at the Slooh observations on my laptop here. I'll let you know if there's anything exciting happening during the meeting. Ooh, it's cute.
So welcome, Hold Roast and Zoom user. Can you type in the chat or unmute and let us know who you are?
I'm Frankie.
Okay. All right. You little.
Can you not see me?
I can't see you. All I see is a square that says Zoom user.
Oh, crikey! Tonight something gone wrong tonight. Then how do I get in there?
Wrong. Well, your camera's off, but let's see here if I can. There we go. I'm going to send you a message that's saying ask to start video. So something should pop up.
Huh?
And there you are.
You know what? What would I do without you? I'm an idiot.
You're not an idiot.
I think I am getting to be an idiot.
You made it here, right? You were able to tell us who
Okay.
you were.
Okay.
So there's things you can check off the list, right?
Really?
Yeah, you arrived. You've your camera on.
Oh yeah,
You're
I get you.
Yeah.
See
what I'm saying?
No, I had to type in my my ID tonight. I had to type in my password, and I never had to do that before. So,
actually, Frankie, if you check your email,
I did it. I checked the email. Yeah.
Okay, because to make it easy for you, I add you as a panelist, and that way, all you have to do is click join. You don't have to register. You don't have to do anything. You just check your email. It'll say you're being invited as a panelist, and then you just can join, and then you don't have to worry about.
Okay, you know what I think I did wrong tonight, Gretchen?
What?
I did it all on my iPhone. I should have got into the mail on the iPad. That's what's wrong. I'm in such a rush tonight, to try and get on in time. I messed up. I should have been doing it I should have gone to my mail on the iPad. Sorry.
No problem. You're here, and we're all ready to roll. Hank is in listening mode. He's going to observe from the gallery. I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah. A heckler.
Let's hope he's not going to be heckling us. But you know what? If he does, I can just remove him.
Great.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Don't worry.
Not at all. No.
He says he's driving. Will you keep driving and don't message? We're just giving you a hard time, Hank.
Okay.
All right. All right. Well, let's get started. It is Tuesdays at 8, and here we are. Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started tonight with this sunny report. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get on to slide numero uno for everybody to look at. Okay. Do we now have a big picture?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Our first slide shows obviously an image of the sun. We have a nice green circle around 3 of the active regions, and Dark Skies Mark has called this the 3 amigos. They were the most amigas, feminine gender. Okay. They were the most active sunspot groups this week. And this is one of the NASA SDO sun invisible light images. So you can see the sunspots and the annotations for which active regions there were. So AR 3376, 3372, and 3373. We're having a high old time pumping out flares and redistributing their sunspots. Some of them grew bigger, some of them grew smaller, some of them faded. So it's been interesting to watch on a day-by-day basis.
Very cool.
And then, of course, we had the Canary 5 images on several days to be able to see them on a live stream. Okay, slide number 2 brings us into some of the images that we pull off the web from other sources.
Oh.
And if you'll notice, we have a couple of flares going on there from the northeast. And what was happening here is they were two big, well, the biggest two coronal mass ejection blasts of the week came from unidentified filaments, not from the sunspot, but from unidentified filaments. Pretty dramatic. What do you think?
This is a pretty amazing animation. This is actually one of the best I think I've seen.
But if you watch closely, you'll see the darker area, which is a filament, just kind of lift itself completely off into space, well beyond the corona.
One of the weird things about this, there was no sunspots associated with this filament. This is just showing how much power is in one of these things if something sets it off. And I have no idea what it was.
And you don't always see two together in that kind of proximity doing the same thing.
Wow.
But I love the visual imagery.
Yeah, so do I. I think that, it really shows the impact, and it helps me to wrap my mind a little bit more around what is happening.
And you can also see all the bright activity elsewhere on the sun's surface there where you see the bright flage.
Right.
And those three to the left are what Mac called the three amigas. We saw in the prior image.
On the next slide.
We can move on to the next one.
Slide number 3.
Mac, do you want to talk to this one?
Yeah, this is another solar dynamics observatory image of the magnetic fields on the surface of the sun. So this is a photosphere level image, and everything in color that is green, red, blue, or yellow are magnetically active plage and plasma flows along the surface and into and out of the surface in the case of sunspots. The circled area is the three amigas again, but the impact to me of this image is just the sheer amount of the surface of the sun is active. I mean, we're talking maybe 30% or more have one of these colors associated with it. And that has continued all week and is typical of this stage of solar cycle 25. Many weeks we have a large, significant fraction of the sun throwing magnetically active plasma around. I mean, it's just being tossed around willy-nilly and sometimes ejected. Anybody have a question or want to know more? Let's see if anything's in the chat.
Let's see. In the chat was Hank's comment about driving.
This Hank is driving. Good idea. Don't chat. So anyway, slide 4.
You know what? Here, this brings up a little bit of a question. I was watching a presentation the other night from this guy. His name's Michael Penn, I believe, and he is in Tucson, and he does a lot of studies of the corona, and he actually does them centered around eclipses. And he was really talking about like the difference in, and it doesn't show so much in this particular image. But in the other ones where we have like the light and dark and we talk about like temperature, he's also mentioning that density was another factor. So I thought that was really interesting. And so if we've got another one of the images of the sun that has those different light and dark, maybe we could look at that and look at.
Yeah, we'll see that with a couple corona images here in a minute.
Okay, cool.
And density does play a big role.
All right, are we here? Slide 4.
Okay. Slide 4 are the M-class flares from active region 3372 and 3373, who were extremely busy, kind of like echoing each other and last on the 22nd and 23rd of this month. And you can see where the flares were coming out. And you can also see a lot of the swirling activity in the regions around it as well.
They were so frequent, they were almost simultaneous many times.
How many Earths could fit in one of these? Like, so we see this like big flare right here happening. How many Earths could fit in that? Do we know? That's
probably about 5 Earths in diameter. So if the whole sun is 109 Earths in diameter, you can sort of figure what that might be.
Crazy.
It is crazy, yeah. It just gets better from here.
It gets better and better, right? All right. So look at slide 5.
Okay. Yeah, slide 5 and slide 6. So slide 5 is a prominence image. This is a view that Canary 5 can be tuned to show just really the dim prominences, and the face of the sun is way overexposed. Now, this one was a little bit earlier in the week, about the 20th or 21st, and the next slide 6 is just today, or maybe yesterday's. So I patiently wait for Andrew Dumbledore to close in on these things, to exclude quite a bit of the big ball, and focus on just the corona, and I quickly snap a couple pictures and process it in Photoshop Lightroom to bring out the details. So these were 2 pictures taken during, just 2 examples of nifty little prominences. Now this plasma density in these prominences is pretty high, but wispy by any Earthling standards, but it's still high velocity magnetic ejected plasma, mostly helium and some hydrogen protons.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that. Wow.
They're pretty, aren't they?
Super pretty. Really just amazing. Just really phenomenal. It's, it's when you think about it, it's like the fact that they even get like these pictures, and, that like, when Snally will share some of her pictures, and it's like, just like from a backyard camera, we're getting pictures of the sun.
Yeah. So in the next slide is a chromosphere image of taken with Canary 5 today. And now we have a new 3 amigas. This is 3 new sunspots all gathered together inside this circle. And it's really terrifically large. I mean, this one complex of sunspots is probably 10% of the surface of the face of the sun this morning. I mean, I guess it's got to be close to the largest one I've ever seen. One major sunspot, but lots of little sunspots if you zero in and do a close-up image of it. So this is 3379 and 3380 and 3383, 3 different active regions combined. Now, the other important thing about this is it's facing directly towards Earth today and tomorrow, and if it releases a major flare or coronal mass ejection, we're gonna know about it. We're gonna see it, and it's gonna come directly at us. So it's worth watching over the next 48 hours.
And what effect will that have on us? Will it have effect on like our
Well,
electronics or anything?
the first thing it would do is cause radio blackouts and shortwave and even long wave radio blackouts if protons are released in quantity, and then aurora, not lots of aurora borealis
Wow,
and
it's
aurora
kind of like,
australis.
it's very much of like a yay, ooh.
Yeah, this is kind of a yay ooh moment.
Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay.
This particular guy's got some filaments inside the active region, so that tends to make it more unstable. But so far, it's been moderately quiet. Maybe one M-class flare in the last couple days.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking we want a little more of that quiet. Okay.
It's a beautiful thing to look at, though.
It is. Yeah. I'm gonna be checking it out tomorrow. Okay. So we want do you want this like plain white?
Yeah,
Oh,
the white. Click on the white
because
ball.
it's not plain white.
Yeah. So here's the ball. This is the prominence view that on a typical day we spend a couple hours looking at all. I mean, so you can close in on parts of it and look at this, but that's what we start with when we're trying to take pictures of prominences. And the next slide shows a script that was written by another observatory called Kanzelhoe in Austria, where they just simply subtract all the bright ball and leave only the prominences.
I
And
kind of like
that's a digital effect. You know, they could throw that script into our viewing videos actually, and it's kind of a flip mode. You could maybe I'll have to send a support tech suggestion that we try adding that script to the prominence view sometime, just so we can sometimes get the wow of flipping it from white to black.
why not? I think that'd be cool.
Why not? Yeah, and that way you don't burn your eyeballs out looking at it for a couple hours waiting for the magic.
Yeah, I am pro not burning out eyeballs. I am.
Yeah, I'm for that too at my burned out eyeballs phase of life.
I think we all are we can all like ride that train. No burning eyeballs.
So they apply scripts to these images already. I mean, they orient them to Earth North and stuff like that. And so a light exclusion script wouldn't be hard for them, I don't think. I'll send a note to Paul and see what they say.
Yeah, totally. You should totally do that.
I could
All right, well, you guys.
Start looking at those balls.
Great report as always. I loved it.
Thank you.
And we've got Milton showing up and Sonali. So yay. Yippee, the gang's all here. And so I'm going to turn it over to Keith, who's going to tell us what's up.
Yeah. Oh, there's not a whole lot going on. We're more excited, at least I'm more excited about the end of astronomy camp. We've got 2 days left. Wow, what a long road it's been. We had fun, but we are winding down to the last 2 days. Let's take a look at Stellarium and see what's happening to these planets. Here.
Did you do comments?
We did. We did
All right.
comments. So we're going to talk about that comet.
In fact, it was planned for today, which was like so serendipitous, right?
Came around. I thought we'd look at this first. Interesting interplay here between our planets as the sun makes its way to the horizon. Venus is moving closer to the sun and Mercury is moving in the opposite direction. So I've got my clock pulled up. So let's see if we can get some animation here. Oh, it's not going to do it the way I wanted it to do. It's just going to set. Let's try this. Oh, that's because it's by the hour. I'm sorry. Let's do it by the day. I'll make my grids go away. So Mercury is moving along the path of the ecliptic, and Venus is moving closer to the sun, even though we're not in the evening yet. I'm just doing it to show kind of what's happening. So Venus will pass in front of the sun for inferior conjunction. And Mercury at around the 10th of August is going to loop around. So I don't know. Mercury is going to be low because we have that oblique angle, shallow angle at the ecliptic in summertime as we get to sundown. Let me see here if I can do what I want to do. What do I want to do? Let's center Mercury where we're going to advance the sun. So if I turn on the atmosphere, there's really not much to see. Even with an hour, Mercury and Venus is already set, and Mars is just about to. So we're going to lose the planets. It won't be long before they become, at least Venus will become a morning object, and then Mercury behind it. And Mars has ways to go again. But we have Jupiter and Saturn on the other side. Saturn has been pretty high in the sky, and Jupiter, the Jupiter missions are getting it. So the next opposition party will be on the 27th of August. That will be Saturn. We didn't do Saturn last year. I'm not exactly sure why. We just kind of didn't get around it. And Paul will take the Jupiter show. That's not until November. So we've got Saturn the end of August and then Neptune in September. They're coming up. Another interesting thing happening. We're at first quarter moon tonight, actually. So as I tell our astronomy campers, this is a point in time event. First quarter moon is really only for a couple hours, probably not even that. One night. But Slooh will give you pretty much the entire night or half the night for first quarter moon shot. After tonight, it's gone. So if you're working on the moon quest, you need to wait for another lunar month. And the same is true of full moon, and same is true for last quarter moon. So this is one of those special nights. And of course, this is when we get to see all that great detail on the Terminator. I don't know if the X and V was visible in the Canary Islands or not. I did look at I did join a first quarter moon mission. Maybe we'll take a look at that. But another interesting thing here happening is with our planet. Let me get the planet in the sky first. Let's go to, I don't know, maybe here. No, anymore. I want to take a look at this. So, you know, we always think of Taurus as being kind of, at least I do, kind of a fall object. Not so. This time of year, you know, Taurus is already in the sky at around 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, definitely visible. As I say, we're about a season ahead if you don't mind staying up all night or getting up early for these early observations. Some of the best pictures I ever took of this whole group here was in the early morning. And that's because when it sets, I've got that street lamp. So I kind of have to catch it early. But the object of note here is Uranus, because remember our golden gate of the ecliptic, that's the path between the Pleiades and the Hyades, again, known to the ancients. And Uranus in a couple of days, I didn't want to do that. Let me go back and center it. Is going to make its way. Actually, it's not a couple of days, it's quite a while away. But with binoculars, you're starting to get into that field of view where Uranus is going to be very close to the Pleiades and Jupiter, about halfway. I know I'm all the way in October. I didn't want to do that. But you can get the idea here. Because Uranus moves so slowly, it's going to be in this position, and Jupiter, not as long as Uranus. Uranus, I think 84 years, Jupiter, what, 15 years, 13 years. We're in this position. We're halfway between Jupiter and the Pleiades. You will find Uranus. So Uranus, at least for me, is a very difficult object to find if you don't have something close by to it. And here we've got, two pretty good spots, Pleiades and Jupiter, and pretty much right in the middle, you will have Uranus. It's a great binocular object. You do see some color. It's definitely not a star, and it's, right at around magnitude of 6, which is that dividing line between what you can and can't see with the naked eye. I do feel that I saw Uranus once with the naked eye for just a split second. It was a very clear night, and I knew where it was, and it was there, and then it was gone. And that's very normal. It's very, very small, very dim. And Neptune, I saw somewhere, was also in the vicinity of Saturn. I've never even bothered to try and go out and look for Neptune, but they're telling me that I can't see it with binoculars. I think it's okay, it's not going to let me zoom into Neptune. Find out how bright it is. It's a magnitude 7.8. So again, that's kind of a binocular object. I don't know. I may go out and hunt for this when the moon is in that area, just to see. So like maybe, I don't know, next month, where's our moon? The thing that really got me excited was Uranus. Knowing that it's halfway between the Pleiades and Jupiter, I definitely think I want to go out and look for it. So yeah, there's not a whole lot going on with the planets. We're just waiting to lose Venus, and Mercury is technically moving away from the sun, but it's still low in the sky. And we're going to lose Mars, so we have to wait for them to become morning objects. But Saturn and Jupiter, as you can see, if you don't mind getting up early at 3 in the morning, you can catch them both. One, Saturn is more or less getting ready to set, starting the process of setting, and Jupiter is over here. So we looked at the Great Conjunction during Conjunction Day and Occultation Day, all those objects. It doesn't seem that long ago, does it, when Jupiter was over here and Jupiter passed Saturn? Some great images from that. Maybe we'll take a look at that. I don't know. I think I'm going to go back and look at that poster that we made for the Great Conjunction. I don't remember if everybody else did this or not, but it was a lot of fun. Here I have it here. This is one of the special events. I forget what they called this quest, but it's fun to go back to some of the work that we've done in the past and just to be reminded of how great some of these events are on Slooh. I mean, this was, again, I don't think I've looked at it since I did it, but wow. Jupiter approaching Saturn. Here we had Jupiter with its moons and Saturn. These are all Slooh images. And then we get this. I mean, what? I mean, that's amazing. It's just amazing. And then this. If you showed this to me any other time, I would say that's photoshopped. I mean, where do you get planetary detail on Jupiter and rings of Saturn in the same field of view? I mean, this was a great event, and it really does help to go back and look at some of our posters and look at some of our work that we've done in the past. Wow. You see the equatorial belts. We see the main equatorial belt, zones of the lighter part. Very nice detail on Jupiter and the rings of Saturn. Like I said, if I didn't see this live, I would have definitely said this was a fake. Notice that was photoshopped.
When was that image taken?
This was the night of the conjunction. I think we had as Jupiter approached, you can see. So this would have been like the first night where it fit into the field of view.
Okay.
And then this was probably the second night. And this was probably the third night. And this would have been 4 or 5 nights after. I don't know. Does it say?
Very
Event
cool
element
capture.
December 21st. So you have a couple days.
Very good capture. That's a keeper.
Yeah, here they give you. Okay, so this was in June, December. Anyway. Didn't everybody do that quest? I would imagine. Were you guys on that one? It's a great event.
It's not often you catch two gas giants in the same frame like that. That's great.
Well,
Having this hard time, with quests. Although now I think you can go back and change your pictures out. But before it was like, once you clicked submit, it was like, that's it. No go backs. So I have like a lot of quests that I was like, no, I'm not ready. I might get a better picture. Obviously not for this, but
yeah, another 12 years. The orbital period of Jupiter is
Yeah.
11.86 years. So yeah, another 12 years, we should be able to see this again. So it's not like it's not going to happen again.
See, I can wait for 12 years. Maybe I'll have better pictures to put on my quest poster.
I don't know. I mean, these were the Slooh images that we had
No,
from.
they're great. No,
I
just kidding.
think it's hard to
Mhm.
do a lot better than this. These were about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
All right. So
Great.
that was an aside. So how about if we get out of that? I don't know, any questions on the planets or on Jupiter and this beautiful event? I think we'll take a look at something else that came up. Another friend of ours that has recently reappeared. Let's get out of slide. We go into
I
Slooh.
just wanted to mention about looking at Uranus, or was it Neptune, between Pleiades and
Yeah, Uranus that's where Uranus is.
Uranus. So the moon is setting at my longitude. It's setting about midnight tonight. So the next couple of days you'll get some morning hours that are very dark.
So the moon will be gone, and you've got
those
like I
guys.
said, the first time I saw Uranus through binoculars was just last year, the night of that lunar eclipse that we had, and plain as day, and beautiful sight with this eclipse to full moon. Right, we had a total lunar eclipse. Uranus was right there, but we knew that because of parallax, we were not going to see the occultation in North America or in Europe. But in Asia, it was visible. And a couple of us went over to YouTube and we're talking back and forth on Discord. It was a great event, and we got some really good pictures of it. I've got pictures of that saved somewhere, but I wanted to take a look at this visitor that has returned, and that's the comet E1. So
Atlas.
yeah, the Atlas comet. So if I'm not mistaken, I have to scroll down and take a look at some of the pictures that I've got.
It was looking spectacular earlier.
Yeah, and there were some missions that I had run. So yeah, I mean, pretty good. Middle of August, I think the comet is going to be closest to the Earth. It's already past its closest point to the sun. So if I'm not mistaken, this is on its way out. So it is a periodic comet every 85 years, like Halley's Comet, which means it goes out to the Kuiper Belt and then makes its way back in, and we can track this. A lot of comets are not periodic. We see them once and then we don't know where they go, or they'll estimate. I think E3 was it, the ZTF comet was, they were saying 40,000 years since that's been here, or I don't remember. Anyway, it's a periodic comet. It's going to come back, but we see it now, and if I'm not mistaken, is on its way out. Mac, you posted a nice observation of this. What's going on with E1? It is going back home, right?
Marie was all excited about it.
Yeah, I heard she got some good pictures. Milton is saying that Canary 1 has missions on it as we speak. So if we want to share from Canary 1, and then
Yeah,
Mark, you wanted to share a bit about your image.
Yeah, it's worth looking at Canary 1 right now.
Oh dear.
So this is the comet in grayscale.
Yeah, we had the missions that I had run around 5:30 or so. There was some nice color in these stars. Very, very nice. I don't know if I have those.
Well, in about 9 more minutes, this will turn to color. It'll be spectacular. So
Yeah,
great.
it's
So
nice.
these are Paul Cox missions. Yeah. Nicely framed.
Yeah, it has a greeny color on it now, hasn't it?
It
Yeah,
will.
the comma's greenish. While we're waiting for that to load, that's because of the composition of some of the dust. And I have Cameron's beautiful poster that he shared because this came up. Some of the kids had questions about this. So the coma glows green because of this ionized carbon. Spends a few days there and then goes out into the dust tail. So pretty much what we see with this comet, we're not seeing the tail anymore because if I'm not mistaken, like I said, it's on its way out. So the comet tail is visible when it's getting closer to the sun, or at least moving away from the sun. It's still kind of close to the sun. And the tail goes out in the opposite direction from the sun. And that's why I think we just see this.
I always associated green with oxygen. Is that not right?
I think
No,
that's
it's
more in nebulosity.
Carbon molecule.
Yeah, this is dust. So
Right.
stuff at the core. So it's going to be a slightly different effect. Yeah, oxygen is when we look at nebulosity and cloud of gas and dust in space. But I think it's different when you have it with the comet. Plus, we need to have something to burn up in the atmosphere, right? So all that other cometary debris, the little meteoroids, the rocks, the microscopic, well, not microscopic, but small, right?
Magnesium,
Yeah, and dust and stuff.
be a
That's
bit
what-
of magnesium in it. That's what makes it look green.
And shamrock as well, maybe.
Could
There
be.
you go.
Shamrock.
Maybe
What a
a little
fool.
pistachio ice
I
cream.
just couldn't resist.
No,
not?
you know what? You didn't miss a beat. It was right on.
Why
I
not?
like that image of you hold roast with the magnifying glass.
It's
We
the
all
only way I
spotted-
can see.
That's
These maps and stuff, the only way I can see it was with this 5x glass in my hand.
great.
Well, I know. And Keith was sharing that quest. I'm like, okay, what? The tiny type what?
Yeah.
I blow it up as best I can.
I know you did. When you blew it up, I was like, Keith, thank you.
Now we forgot about this. Also coming up, starting, and actually it's already started, but not up because let me get the sky. Let me turn us ahead a couple hours. Is our famous summertime meteor shower.
Oh, yeah.
Let me turn on I never have my meteor stuff turned on, but I'll turn it on today. But this is.
Is this for August the 12th, you mean?
No, this is in Solarium. They actually give you a range, which I like. I never really looked for this before because I never turned this on. And they're saying, from the middle of July to the end of August, and with the peak of the 13th, we have for the Perseids. And I think that's when the show is. Gretchen, I asked you before, when is the Perseid show here on Slooh?
It will be on Saturday, the 12th
Okay.
of August, the day of the peak. So peak's like 12th, 13th.
So when we
You're right.
think
You're right. There's a range, but that's the maximum, so they mathematically attempted to calculate.
Yeah. So when we talk about comets, you have to automatically talk about meteor showers because that's what happens, right? The comet leaves this debris field, it leaves dust, it leaves little pieces, bits and pieces of itself out in space. And when the Earth passes through it, that stuff burns up in the atmosphere, and that's what creates our meteor shower. So Perseids, why is it the Perseids? I mean, it's roughly in the area of Perseus. So I think if it really in between these three constellations.
So which
Andromeda.
comet is responsible for the meteorites? Like which comet's tail debris are we going through?
This is Swift Tuttle, is it?
Yes.
It is. This is another thing that I just realized recently because like I said, I never leave the meteor shower turned on. It is. It's Comet 109P Swift Tuttle. Sometimes we don't know the comet. It's just kind of random random debris, but this one we know. And of course, when we look at this pattern of stars, the star field shows us where it is, but it's kind of like, I think of it like walking your pet. The stars had nothing to do with it. The stars aren't moving. It's just this debris was sort of left behind in this area that is where we think of the meteor shower originating from, right? From the radiant this region here in Perseus.
One of my jobs years ago, when we'd have star parties observing these meteor showers, right? Especially the Perseids. One of my jobs was to create the sound on the shortwave radio, to tune into the frequency and pick it up as it crashes into the atmosphere. Any of you ever do that?
Mm-mm.
Whoa, that's super cool.
Yeah, that was one of my little tricks, one of my things I used to do because of my connection with the radio. And I'd be running around the field frantically looking for a good earth to get everything quiet enough so that we could hear them go.
Huh.
Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah.
Take a
I
look on
wasn't such an idiot in those days.
You caught a few. Good deal.
There was a time.
take a quick
Yeah.
look on Canary 1 of the comet image before it disappears. It's in color right now.
Yeah, I see
Thanks,
it.
Jenny.
Very noisy. That's too bad.
Oh, very noisy, but it's very fun.
Oh dear. Oh, look at that now. Yeah, it is noisy. Yeah, it's lovely though.
It's got
Nice
a
and
bit
It's
of
faded.
fun. I
glow
like
on
it.
Yeah.
David.
There's a magic few seconds when it's not noisy and you can get the color.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, these are
snap
one of
it
those
to-
ones you have to watch live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. Well, we know it's there. It's not going anywhere, I don't think, anytime soon. I don't know how fast this one is moving. And we talked about this in camp. In order to track these comets, you have to consult an ephemeris if you're scheduling by the coordinates. Now here it is added to the Slooh 1000. So I have to imagine there's some type of algorithm, or somebody physically sets the coordinates of where they think it's going to be. I'm not sure how they do it, but
Sky Live.
if that's what they're doing, but I don't know if they go in and actually type in the coordinates and use
I
that
bet
as a
you they can enter the ephemerids. Yeah.
yeah, because the
It'd be
orbit
too
of
much work.
comets, yeah, very irregular, and I don't know, that makes me want to go back and look for those missions that I ran, because we didn't have the noise, but we still had the color.
What scope is that there, Keith?
This is Canary 1.
Oh.
So I'm inclined to say that may not be, if they're going to try it again, it's the same thing is happening. It's just blowing out. But we did have some nice color. Let's see if it's
I didn't think the first quarter moon would have that much effect on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really in the same part of the sky, is it?
So over on Canary 2 right now, there's a new comet that he's got an image of. Who's ever taken that picture? Look, it's
Wanting to let me share.
I got 2 missions booked on Canary 3 tonight for Pons Brooks.
yeah,
That-
Pons Brook.
Canary
Yeah,
two.
that
Oh, what time?
16th magnitude. The ones I booked were 23:10, and the other one was like 1:20
This one we missed.
UTC.
Oh, I had a nice coma on this last T2 mission, but it's now moved to something else.
Yeah.
It's moved on.
Done this in a while. Comet hopping.
Comet hopping. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it seems every summer we've lucked out with getting a good comet, and I showed a whole bunch of comet images from different comets that we've had over the last few summers. I don't know where this one is. I'm not even sure how bright it is. Maybe I'll take a look. Let's get out of this. Oh, not too much. So let's find out. Let me get my search bar up and see exactly where this thing is now. Do I have this saved? Did I look for this before? It's ZTF. That was our big comet. Not lately. So, see 2023 E1. It's a March discovery, and Bed's not going to find it because I don't have it loaded. Yeah.
Not loaded.
Yep. All right. Forget that. Oh, well, it was a nice try. Kind of a quiet night. Not a whole lot going on. Planets are just sort of going through their cycles. The comet I thought was kind of exciting. Not that it's new. We've been watching this for a while. It's just on its way out, but it kind of got attention again.
It just got dramatically brighter.
Yeah,
the
is
comet
that the big deal?
E1.
And it's
So
it's a Slooh 1000 object now, which I thought was very timely because I wanted the people who are part of astronomy camp to be able to get to see a comet, and we were able to share that with them and show them, that every now and then these do show up as Slooh 1000 objects when they're bright, as was the supernova. So we had a supernova and a comet, in 5 weeks. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the meteor shower in 2 weeks. So
yeah,
we still have a lot of stargazing left here on Slooh for the summer. Here every night, I can't really, it's cloudy again. I mean, every night. It's nice during the day, and then it just clouds up at night. So I don't even bother to go out.
Partially cloudy tonight here too, so I don't think it's going to be worth my while to even attempt it.
Every night I haven't seen Venus, and Venus is not visible on Slooh. It hasn't been for at least a week or two. And I don't know, I'm gonna miss it. I would have liked to have seen that very, very thin crescent Venus as it makes its way, because Venus was high enough in the sky for a long time.
When will it be at its thinnest? Fast.
Now.
Right now.
Yeah. And until it gets too close to the sun, too low on the horizon, then you won't see it. And then it'll pop up on the other side, so you will be able to see it again, but it'll be a morning object, which means an hour before dawn, getting up at staying up at 4 until 4 in the morning.
Right. Well, here right now, this time of year, it's actually better to be up early than to be up late, because like even at night, like last night was 103. I'm like, wait, what?
The job I used to work at, by 4 in the morning, we're already in the barns. Our day started probably an hour before that. The idea was to beat the heat in the summer.
Right, exactly. So, you get up around 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and that's the time to do it. So we shall see. I did catch the moon the other night, was quite gorgeous.
People have gone comet crazy. I mean, there's Comet Leonard on tonight. There's Comet.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Hans Brooks and various missions. I mean,
well, this is what this is what happens.
3 or 4 comets out there.
This is what happens. People, it starts comet madness. And the thing is, none of these comets are really that good, from what I remember. I mean, Comet Leonard's been gone for a long time. That's on its way out.
I mean, Leonard that's going to be faint.
Is out. Just because this looks brighter is because it's closer to the Earth, so we can see it a little better, but it's not close to the sun, so we're not seeing, a beautiful Dale.
I know what happened. I know what happened. So when Paul said he added it to the Slooh 1000, people
Yeah.
went to schedule comments. And they were
Everybody
like,
thinks
"Oh."
it's new.
Look at all these comments.
Yeah, and then they just chose all the other ones. Yeah.
Well, I
Maybe
went
we
after, I went after Pond's Bricks because it's hard at 16th magnitude. I actually ran 2 missions so I can blink it.
Yeah, I want to make sure we catch that, Holders. What time did you say? I thought I saw one at 125.
Yeah, one's at 120 or 125, and the other one's was earlier at 2310.
Is that Canary 3?
Yep. Both of them on Canary 3. Like
So
Keith
now
says, you
there's
got to
a
use
couple
the
on
same
Canary too.
scope.
We're talking about comets here. Let's go back to the comet. I think the easiest way is if I just go to schedule mission. Well, maybe not. Let's do this. I want to take a look at it. Unpack again. I unpack this for the kids in case you have forgotten. C/2023. That's always, that's comet, right? C 2023. E1 is the month that it was discovered. So E is March. They divide the month from what I remember in half. So A, B, C, D, E, F. That's our
So first half of March.
and Atlas is who discovered it. That's a sky survey. So
Yeah.
Very rare that we see names after comets anymore, which is kind of sad. One of the names that we are used to seeing is Dale Mackle, who sadly is no longer with us, but he's a big comet hunter and spent a lot of time on Slooh, using Slooh for comets. That's where Paul would say he was always asking for overrides from that 30-degree horizon, the soft horizon, because a lot of the surveys are set up to only look above that. So a lot of comets don't rise above that point. They skim the horizon, and a lot of times they'll be visible in one part of the night, early part of the night. They'll dip beneath the horizon, especially when they're in the north, right? We've got that motion, the counterclockwise motion of the celestial sphere around the North Pole. So it's very possible it's over here, it dips beneath the horizon and then pops up again the other side later in the night. So he would have special settings set so that he could look for comets in that area. And we saw that a lot. I think Neewise was one of those ones where I never really went out to see it because I knew you had to have a pretty good view of the horizon, which I did not have. Anyway, that's how we unpack a comet if you didn't know. I know most of the people here are old timers. They know that, in case you didn't. So
Find them in the zone.
yeah, that's
he only died last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I want to say it was in the last year. I'll have that set up
How
for next
many
week.
comets did he discover, Keith?
I don't know.
No.
I have no idea. But
I
There
think
was
Paul
quite a
talks about
few.
it quite a bit.
No, it was
using
in-
that.
it was in the dozens.
Yeah.
He was
So-
Yeah,
brilliant.
I'd like to say, I think it was at least 15.
His name
Yeah.
will pop up, and of course Shoemaker Levy will pop up, and
Yeah.
some other comet hunters.
And here we sit without finding one, right?
I will. Well, that's up for you. Up to you to do.
We're not looking
Yeah.
all this. That's all. But we're not looking.
Hey, we got to find more shamrocks, Frankie.
Now I'll have that set up for you next week. I want to go into the subject here. This is let's turn the Slooh telescopes to this and see what we can make of it. And here we go. Look familiar?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's
No, it doesn't look familiar.
it's what do you call it? M57.
Oh, you cheater. It says right
Huh?
at the top. Yeah, I have it at the top. Yeah, if you can believe it, it's the
Can't
ring
see
nebula.
that M57 up there.
It's the ring nebula.
Yeah,
And-
I can't see any. Who says I'm cheating?
one of
I
these
didn't see any
LV
number.
So on Slooh, this is a new view of this for me anyway.
That's a great picture of the ring.
All we see with Slooh, And again, nothing wrong with Slooh. We need longer exposure to do this, a lot of stacking and some processing. We just see this intersection, right? We definitely see the blue and the red, but this beautiful, it looks like a poppy. This
It does.
beautiful
Mhm.
scalloped
It's like a flower.
ridge. Wow, is that gorgeous? Absolutely beautiful.
Who's that guy down below that Bard Spiral Galaxy?
Yeah, tell me about it. I've got my slide pulled up for that. The SBC Bard Spiral. I don't know if that's listed for what it is, but great catch. That's the first thing I noticed too. In fact, in my comment to the person, I said, "Wow, what a
It's
nice
galaxy.
what a nice treat that he picked up." So,
The
you know,
pair of
all
them
I'm saying,
together.
look at the image and look at what else is in it.
Yeah.
I've up until now, the Ring Nebula, ho hum, you know, I mean, it's just kind of boring. No way.
That's a keeper,
Gorgeous.
that.
Look at these other galaxies. There's galaxies everywhere.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? You know, up in Lyra, we don't think of that as being a galaxy-rich region. At least I don't. But this reminds me of that other image where we had some late-term galaxies too, where we had a Bard spiral in SBC. I would say with the right settings, we get this on Slooh, you'll definitely get this galaxy, which I haven't seen with the ring before. And with some Canary 1 images and some stacking and some processing, I think we can get pretty close to this, I would imagine. But I just love this. I saw this and was like, wow.
That's a great picture, Keith. Really good.
Looks like a flower. It really does. Looks like a poppy.
It's brilliant. Yeah, I
So,
used to.
Are those Slooh images or something else?
This is something else. This is one of those backyard shots, right?
Okay.
Okay.
I think this was 9 hours worth of data,
Yeah.
which,
Well,
okay.
it's a good print for sure.
But I think this is, again, let's work on as a group
I've never seen a web image like this either.
of getting some ring data, stacking it, and seeing if we can get some of this nebulosity around the edge. I've never seen this before.
Well, he's got to dim the main ring to pull this up. Yeah, so it's pretty tricky.
Well,
the ring would be too bright otherwise.
I think
that's a pro level job.
All right, well, we need everybody to get on it. So let's take one last look here. I'm running out of things to talk about.
Well, I do want to bring something up. So next Tuesday is August 1st, and it is the full sturgeon super moon. And there will be a public star party starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be right before, and we'll go from that right into the Tuesday show.
Yeah. What's this sturgeon about? I mean, a sturgeon is a fish, is it not?
It is a big fish. And during August is when it is most popular in the Great Lakes.
Oh, maybe they're running.
Yeah. It's when they were, highly fished during this month. And so that's why it's the sturgeon moon.
They're
it used to be kind of a
genus too. They go way back with the sharks.
Yeah, the sturgeon is endangered. It's the fish that we get caviar from. And in caviar producing nations.
In the constellation. That's right.
Okay,
it's the roe of the sturgeon, and it used to be a very rare one here off the coast of Ireland for the fishermen to pull out a red sturgeon out of the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, there's several species of sturgeon. The roe one is beluga.
They're farmed now. They do raise them, and we have them here. The Delaware River has sturgeon, and Susquehanna used to too. It's illegal to catch or fish for them. Because, like I said, they are endangered. Connecticut River also has them in lower upstate New York. So for a little fun here, kind of have a short night today because I was training on camp, and this gained some.
The patch.
The Legend
Slooh patch.
the extra rare Slooh embroidered patch. Some people asked where I got this from. I don't know if I want to say.
Well, it was when you became an ambassador, right?
Oh, let's not.
No, no.
All right, I guess this was part of the very short-lived and very short supply goodie box that came out when a couple of us were asked to do some things for Slooh. And this was one of the things that came in the box, the Slooh embroidered patch. In fact, I have the original right here.
Which just reminds me, Keith, I didn't get my Hubble jacket yet, my blazer.
What? You didn't get your leather Hubble jacket?
No.
I've
Not
been
leather,
waiting for you to model it
Mountain
for
wool.
us. Ah, this is so disappointing.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So the Slooh patch was that. There are other things. In fact, some of the Slooh merchandise is available on Amazon, like the Slooh polo. Did you know? I bet you did. There
I
wasn't.
did not know that. Are you serious?
Like a slew, what?
Slooh merchandise,
Right.
the Slooh polo.
I'll get it
Polo
right
shirt.
now. Yes, you can buy one for yourself. The Slooh polo. Yes, there is such a thing. I should have.
Did they go on special during Prime Days? Did I miss out?
Used to be able to get Slooh gift cards.
There you go. Official Slooh astronomer polo shirt.
So here we go. The Slooh polo.
Oh,
You think I make this stuff up?
Wow.
Here you go. So Slooh
Unbelievable.
polo, yep, there you go. $20, and it can be yours. It has a nice embroidered Slooh patch. Slooh.
Oh, it's in green, is it?
No,
is
it
that
only
green or
gets-
blue?
Blue.
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 Oh,
It's
I
blue.
gotta have one if it's blue.
It's delightful. It's
Right.
You can probably get it in Irish green as well.
yeah.
Irish green being
One
better.
color. If
It's
you
very
dye
nice
it, that's
looking.
if you
Nice.
dye and it dyes the thread, that's your mistake. So there was
No.
Slooh polo. There was also a Slooh skull cap that came that had the Slooh logo embroidered. So chance for some Slooh merchandise if you didn't.
I had
Well,
no
not this.
idea.
Oh yeah. See
And
that?
Mac, just to explain to you, right? These filtered glasses here that I wear, right? They're kind of amber in color, and they
So
change
if we all
the
get a
greens and
slew
blues.
polo shirt, do we all have to show up wearing that next time?
Mhm.
I know. I'm thinking maybe I'll wear that for camp tomorrow.
I
I
know.
know.
There you
because
go.
I haven't put
Frankie,
away.
what were you saying about your glasses?
I was just trying to explain to Mac there that these filtered glasses that I wear from the blind, they're kind of
That's
amber
everything.
in color. I don't know if you can see that or not,
Yeah.
They look,
but
they look yellow to us.
yeah,
Amber.
they
Amber.
change the color of everything. They change green.
So
to
the
blue,
yellow and blue makes green. Oh my God.
They do. They change the color of everything. I never get the color of anything right.
Right, because
No.
you're mixing in a primary colors, so they're mixing. So like you look
True.
at red, does it look orange?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Mm.
Well,
I'm forever saying to my wife, I'm telling you, it was green. She says, no, it's not. It's blue.
so we have that, and I think we'll wrap up the night here with a real wall hanger. So I'll let you decide: wall of fame,
Oh
hall
my.
of fame, or wall of shame. This came up for sale, the classic Unitron 114. If you don't know the
Yeah.
Unitron 114, these were in Sky and Telescope for like 30 years. They started making them in the 50s and ended, I think, in the late 70s. They were in production for a long time. Classic 60 millimeter telescope. This guy had one for sale in excellent condition, near mint, according to his words. So already famous last words, right? Let's find out let's see how excellent this is. So he's got, as we look, it's mostly complete. He's missing one eyepiece, not bad. He's got the clamshell, and he's got the Poro prism. That's if you want to use it for terrestrial viewing, that will give you a correct image. So he's got a complete kit.
Did you buy it, Keith?
Well, we'll look some more. No, I have several of them already. the Unitron mount, known for these beautiful Altaz mounts. They're fantastic. You can use it as a push to up, down, left, right, fine focus, fine controls. They're wonderful, great little mounts. I did have one of my 114s out actually the other day. Maybe we'll talk about that in the after party. This one is a little bit later. It has the spreader. Otherwise, you're kind of on your own. And I think the next image shows the all-important view of the objective lens. And this is where we decide if it's Hall of Fame or a wall hanger, wall of shame. So
it looks dirty to me.
Looks
so
real.
he tells us, all he talked about was how wonderful this was. It's excellent. It's this, that, and the other thing. Okay. Yeah. The first thing I noticed was the dust. Not a problem. You can get it off with the blower, but
A big chip there on the right.
not a big deal. The lens cell here unscrews, and these are fairly easy to clean. Not a big deal. The bigger cause of concern are these screws. Unitron, to protect itself for claims about damage or not working or whatever, used to put red paint on the screws for the cell. Like I said, you can unscrew it, but that doesn't allow you to access the two lens elements. To do that, you have to loosen the screw. And that was, you'll hear it today. Oh, well, that's so if, you wanted to resell it, people would know whether or not you went in and manipulated the lenses. No, there was no thought about resale when these things were sold. That was so that if you went to your dealer and you took it home and you couldn't figure out how it worked, you couldn't take it back and say, there's something wrong with the lens. They would say, okay, well, there's something wrong because you took it apart. That's basically what that is. So we can see that the red has worn off. And of course, what we call a clamshell, this big chip, which comes from taking apart a lens cell, putting it back together, and tightening the screws.
Retightening it, yeah.
Yep, retightening it too tight. So you put a nice chip. This is for sale, and there's another one out here. Okay, excellent. I think you wanted $400 or $500 for this.
What?
Excellent. Now I thought about writing back to this guy, but I figured, you know what? There are enough people that are nitpicky. He probably has 10 emails on this already. But
I would bet.
I just thought.
Do you know what I would like to know when you're talking to this guy? Ask him. The blind man wants to know, is that dust on the inside or the outside of the lens?
Well, that's the whole thing. Obviously, at some point, something was between the lenses, which is why they would have taken it apart.
Well, it's sure going to be harder to get it off if it's on the inside.
Excellent. Now, how could you in good faith? I mean, clearly, you might not even know the chips. It's dirty. I mean, that's not excellent to me.
How would you not know? He took the picture.
All I can say is maybe the person doesn't really have anything to do with the hobby. He doesn't really know what's going on with it. Then he knows what Cloudy Nights is, which is not exactly a beginner's forum. So I'm not exactly sure what to make out of this. Anyway, I vote on this. This is even beneath Wall of Shame.
I'm going to vote for that too.
This goes low on the Wall of Shame. I want to make sure everybody sees it.
So maybe here's a last theory. Maybe he has another one that has like no lens and it's totally rusted. So compared to that one, this is excellent.
No.
Maybe no.
Compared to not having a
Maybe
scope
you
at all,
turned it
some
off.
kid might actually
Yeah,
get
there you
some use out of
go.
it.
Compared to nothing.
If it's the only scope you got, I guess you use it.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, that's not excellent.
Oddly enough, I had my 114 out. Like I said, I have several of them. People will give these to you if they know that you have one. And all I can say is that the optics are soft. It's hard to be critical of a classic. People use the example of it's like being hard on a vintage automobile, on a classic sports car. They do not have the handling of what we have today, and that's the way the optics are on these telescopes. Sad but true. They're soft, and in fact, for most of us here, certainly with what we see on Slooh, and even if you have a little telescope at home that's relatively new, really not worth using. That,
There's no comparison. Yeah.
I was disappointed. I was disappointed. Yeah. Don't forget, these were, made at a time before they had any type of computer imaging and testing lenses, using a CAD program. Very good for its time. Yeah, very good for its time. In fact, since we're talking about this, let's get the other refractor up. Let's get up the 1850. Since we're talking about this stuff.
Did you try it out?
Yeah, I did. Let me get this up. Ooh, let's go back and get it.
You throw it in an all-size mount and go for it.
I did. I used the Unitron mount for it.
Right.
Again, this is one of those things I bought because they almost never come up for sale. When they do, they cost a fortune. And this one wasn't a fortune. And I was curious, especially since what we see with our mascot, the Fully Brush here, which is just a horrible lens, and some of the other pictures that we've seen. So I set this up on a Unitron clamshell, and I took it out.
Yeah.
Here it is on my bed. And this is, they call it a 3-inch, but it's really about 2 7/5 of what we would call clear aperture, where the rim takes up some of it. Now, this is also very dirty. And I decided not to clean it because I didn't want to touch it until I saw if it was even working. And I took it out. And when you run into lenses this old, it's not like a modern lens where you can clean it and it's fine. Sometimes the dust will also attract bacteria, and the bacteria can actually begin to eat away at the lens. And the lens will pit. So I didn't really know what was going on with it. I figured, let's take it out and see if I can see anything.
Yeah.
And we looked at the Fully Brush here, which had terrible optics, and the guy actually makes fun of it. It's so bad. We looked at the Gregoire Lyon, which was a big French maker, which all the planets were pretty much just a blur. And I had a guy look at this, John Briggs out in Magdalena, I think, New Mexico. He has a museum, and I put this in the anti-telescope forum, and a lot of people were all over it. Piece of junk. It's a run-of-the-mill terrestrial telescope. It's garbage. He said, no, I said, this looks like this could be an unsigned Alvin Clark that they made for the Civil War. They made them for the Union Army as terrestrial spotting scopes.
Wow.
It looks of that era, doesn't it?
Oh,
So-
wow.
So it's a completely different idea from, it's a dime a dozen type of cheap mahogany thing versus no, this has features very similar to things that he has in his collection. So the first thing I had to test was, is it terrestrial? Meaning, do I have an upside down image? That would be an astronomical telescope, or a reversed image, flipped back and forth, or is it right side? So it did appear to be a correct image, but the views were nothing like the Gregoire Lyon and nothing like that gigantic Fully Brush here. Very, very crisp. I was surprised how much better it was than the Unitron. Whatever softness there were, I think was just because of the moisture and condensation and dirt on the lens. So I may clean it up and take it back out. Again, just kind of a novelty piece, but showing that optics from a well-known maker from the 60s can be really bad, and how some of the big name makers from 100 years ago can be also bad, but telescopes from the same era can be very good, but none of them as good as even really an entry-level achromat from today. World of difference. That's all I can say. World difference. It was a good little experiment. But if you
Love the look of this. It reminds me of something you would like find on a ship. That's what I see when I look at this, right? Yeah.
I think the big thing is, learn from my mistakes. If you ever get a hankering of getting into these vintage refractors, know that most eyepieces, most of the older telescopes are 965s, and that's true even up until the 80s for some telescopes. Even old Takahashis are 965. You have to buy an adapter for the back. So you have problems with modern eyepieces. You have problems with the draw tube. You know, the focusers a lot of times are not working well. So buyer beware if you get involved with these vintage equipment, that you can have some problems. But this was a good experiment. It was fun. I don't know what made me take it out. I was not going to be able to use it at night because of the clouds, but I did look at some trees and my spotting scope, my area, my test area, which is a church up the road. Very nice detail on the bricks and on some of the other features of the building. So I was pleased.
Well, Hank is asking, where is your mouthpiece? Where is the mouthpiece?
I don't know.
I mean, for your, where's your microphone? Is that what he's asking?
I don't know. Hank,
Yeah. You have a desk microphone, Keith?
Mm-mm.
clarify for us. What do you ask? What do you?
I have an external mic actually over here, which is also a camera. I don't run the camera. I run the mic through.
Oh,
This
so you have a mic that's sitting on your desk.
Looks like an instrument. Are you talking about the telescope he just showed us?
Maybe he means the eyepiece. The eyepiece is down here.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what he meant.
Go back. This is the eyepiece, and it just unscrews. There's a cover, a brass cover. The eyepiece is in here. It's actually a very nice piece of glass. And another indicator that this could be a Clark is that it's close enough to an inch and a quarter that you could put an inch and a quarter eyepiece. Just unscrew this, take the eyepiece out, and with a little tape, make an inch and a quarter eyepiece fit in this. You could even stick in a diagonal if you wanted to. And Alvin Clark was very unusual in the sense that he used that size. Some companies never got on board, like Clave of Paris in the 60s. Again, a very famous, very short-lived brand, used their own size, which didn't make any sense to anybody, but they did. But he did use inch and a quarter. And that's that. So it was a good little experiment. That was my, we had a Hall of Shame, which was that Wall of Shame, which was that guy's post. And I'm calling this Hall of Fame. I think this has a lot of potential. May never see the light of day again, but it was fun.
I'm going for
Hello
all.
to the other Keith there. Hello, Keith. I
That's
think
me.
you were on
That's my
last week.
laptop. That's actually me. That's my laptop.
That's Keith's doppelganger.
Is that right?
I run a laptop so I can see if my screen share is working. It's not that big of a deal here. But
I
run
see. I
solar
see.
system scope and stuff for
And that was
astronomy.
confusing.
I
because
need
We
to
had
see
we had another Keith last week, a new guy.
We did it.
Hmm. Okay. So you
We've had a
caught me
couple
out
come
there.
and go,
You caught me out there.
and they haven't been back.
Hmm. Making a fool of a poor old Irishman.
Irishman. It's great.
I keep coming back. I don't know. We have our core group.
Come back.
So
All right, you
that's
guys.
kind of
Well-
kind of light on material tonight. Just I pulled out all stops for astronomy camp. I don't have much left of anything to share, and with not a whole lot happening in the sky, that
I know.
I feel over the
You're
last
suffering
month
from-
we've talked about everything.
You're
Tomorrow's
suffering from a brain freeze.
no. I think we timed it good, just right. Today we talked about comets and meteor showers. They go hand in hand. Tomorrow we're going to talk about supernova remnants. We already talked about supernova events. We started off the series with that. I want to talk about asteroids, and we're going to talk about quasars.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, now you
And
guys,
gravitational lensing, and then Thursday is going to be the size of the universe. We're going to look at some of the graphics that I have of how
I heard it's quite large.
I
As
know, I
I've
heard
said
that
many
too.
times.
I heard it's just a rumor. It's just a rumor though.
As I've said many times, in my opinion, it is beyond the comprehension of the human mind. I don't think we can truly understand.
Well, Albert told us it doesn't matter where you are in it. It always looks like you're in the center of it from where you are. So it's got to be large.
And it makes sense.
It's got to be big. I mean, I have a hard enough time imagining the size of the sun, when I think about those little tiny Earths, and I'm like, what? How can that even be? It's just crazy so I'm looking forward to it. And you guys, you can sign up and be in the gallery. You can't come into the room where the students and the kids are, but you can watch from the gallery. And it's quite interesting to just show up and I'm learning so much. It's fascinating. Keith has just a very wonderful way of explaining things that it's easy to understand. It's fun to learn. So I'm really
Halvras, you and I could be the two hecklers.
Thanks.
well.
That's
Like,
how they have you guys
remember what
together.
I'll do to hecklers. I will remove you.
We'll get the zap, the finger of God.
We've had not student hecklers, but we've had one or two people that we had to kind of.
Yeah. I saw the replay for the Pluto presentation. It was very good, Keith.
Oh, did you like that? Yeah, we
I
did. I'm glad you like that. The Pluto's a lot of fun. We did Pluto once before. So except for Saturn, all of these opposition parties we've done at least once, and some of them even twice. So the nice thing is the material I already have set up, so I don't have to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
You always forget stuff, but we pick up the slack here.
Talk to me about forgetting stuff. I was trying to explain to somebody the other day about Clyde Tombow's technique for discovering Pluto. I was telling him about Pluto, and I couldn't think of the word, and I still can't think of it now. But I think Halvras or Mark mentioned it earlier on there tonight. That technique that he had for flipping. What's this you call it again?
Blink compare or
The blink comparator,
I couldn't think of that blinking
which
word.
was
the
a
other day.
nice machine, by the way.
the word blink. It was
Yeah, I know. I couldn't think of the word blink, blink, blink.
That was a Carl Zeiss
My brain had blinked. I couldn't think of it.
blanked on the blinked.
Blank
Tom
on a
has
blank.
discovered dozens of other objects, mostly asteroids. Anything that you're going to use the blink comparator for, you're going to see move, right? So he was finding asteroids left and right. But we just talked about Pluto.
The sound that you put on your presentation, that was eerie. That was like going back there. Imagine him listening to that clicking back and forth. Oh my God, that one moved.
You know what? I see that and I cringe a little bit because I hope they're not running the machine for that, because you could just take a recording of, a few seconds and put it on a loop, because if that's just blinking nonstop like that, you're wearing out the gears. It's an historic piece of instrument. Again, it's a Carl Zeiss comparator. How often do you find those, up for sale somewhere? Never.
Oh, in the museum.
It's a rare device. I hope they had the good sense to conserve the object and just play the sound.
It was probably a once through. They just recorded.
I hope, but you don't know.
Yeah, I would think if they were playing it repetitively like that, it would have already worn out, don't you think?
Well, it depends on the integrity of the equipment, but you wouldn't want to do it a lot because of its historic nature. Like if you had a Model T, you're not going to run it down the road every day.
Yeah,
right, exactly. Yeah.
Looked at 300.
Not unless you have a can of WD-40,
or
which
somebody's going to pay you a
60,
lot of
and
money
something
to do it,
very
right?
handy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
A can of carbon 60 will solve all those problems.
Yeah, maybe Elon Musk would come by and say, "I'll pay you $2 million to run this Model T into the ground."
I think he used to or watch 7,000 hours worth of blinking, 300,000 glass plates that he took.
Yeah.
And,
well, that's what really is fascinating to me, that he picked this thing out without even really having that. I don't even like when you during the show, Keith, you show those two things. It's like I'm like, I don't know where it is. I don't see it.
It looked really small on those plates.
well, it's easy to do. So don't forget, the Percival Lowell's team had pictures of Pluto in its plates. They just didn't identify the object. He had it, and Edward Charles Pickering also had images of Pluto on his plates that we found out about much later.
And didn't
but
recognize it.
by Tombaugh with a young set of eyes, and that's what he was hired to do. Can you imagine? I mean, VM Schleifer was there, and one of the other big people ran the observatory after Percival Lowell died. They weren't going to sit there for 7,000 hours and look for this thing. They hired some kid and said, that's your job. And he was thrilled to have it.
I know.
On the webpage, they give an account of how he would spend his day. He'd get there in the morning and do some blinking and then go into town for lunch and then come back. And of course, the Lowell Observatory was where Robert Burnham spent many, many years, where he wrote the Celestial Handbook. And we saw how they treated him.
Yeah.
He does get a little plaque, I think.
Little
Right.
plaque.
Now,
Is
if
there
you're
a little
lucky,
cat? Little cat
If
by
that-
it.
a
By the
sloop
way,
patch, maybe?
By the way, you just reminded me there, last week, I couldn't think of the astronaut that was on Apollo 13. And strangely enough, it just started coming to me. It was Jim Lowell. Yeah,
Jim Lowell.
he was the skipper on
Okay.
Apollo 13.
Okay.
Did you know that?
No, I don't
Ji-
really
Jim
follow the
Lowell.
Apollo missions.
Yeah.
We ran out of Apollo steam even before they landed. We didn't get past Wednesday with Apollo.
He used
And I
quite a bit
didn't
of
know they
duct
had
tape.
skippers on rocket ships. I thought that was only like on
He
boats.
used quite a bit of duct tape patching that hole.
Yeah. I spent another 8 hours, 2 days in a row, watching the boys set foot on the Tranquility base. Oh my
Yeah.
God, my brain was saddled.
Yeah.
But I
can
watched it all
only
over again.
imagine.
I loved it. Yeah, I
Which-
watched it all over again. There's something wrong with a person like that, isn't there? There's
Oh,
something
there's-
wrong with their brain.
There's I was watching a doc the other day on Prime actually, and candid conversations with a lot of the astronauts and those that train to be astronauts, and they mentioned several times that we knew this is dangerous. We knew every time we go up that you're not apt to come back. Like this is all up in the wind. This could all go sideways at
Sure.
any time. And
Yeah.
it took a lot of nerve to just do that, just sign up for the
Mhm.
game.
Well, I think it was back then. It was this balance between what an opportunity.
Opportunity and faith in your people, and then the other side of the coin is a bigger risk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was the opportunity. I
Yeah.
think that was like the honor of
Yeah.
being part of this and this
Well, there were
opportunity.
certainly brave people, or the bravest
Yeah, and it was
people I
for our
know.
country. It was
Yeah.
they were doing it for the United States of
And
America.
don't forget,
right?
it didn't always go well. There was the Mercury mission
No,
that
yeah,
burnt,
no. Yeah.
and yeah,
And
Well,
then
didn't always
guys,
go well.
Amazing achievement. Amazing
we
achievement.
kind of entered into the after party here. We probably should have cut this out.
let's do that. So
Yeah.
we can head on over to Discord and have our
Okay.
nightcap, and
Okay.
I'll see you there. So
Thank you for coming, folks at home.
Good
Thanks for
idea.
spending some time with us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.